Beautiful, blessed family. For those of you who've been following my short uploads, after I came in from getting towed back here, I was so exhausted, and I'm sure it was like more emotional than anything else because this has been the nature of my life. Honestly, I have a family filled with men. There's so many men in my family. There's a lot of women and men, but there's a lot of men in our family. And even if I was talking to anybody in my family, if I had a relationship that was sensible, stable, I know for sure there's no one that I could call to help me with what I'm going through right now with the car. So I've been driving this car, my mom's car, to take my daughter to work. And so because she's kind of not really been going anywhere much, my daughters and I have been responsible for the maintenance of the car, like so paying for oil changes, any kind of things that go wrong with the car, the change, like getting new tires, dealing with any kind of maintenance. Now, on that note, there has been a lot of warfare directed at this vehicle. I've never had a car or a vehicle in my possession that I've been able to drive that has had this many issues. And this car is an economy car, so it shouldn't cost a lot to maintain or to own. It shouldn't cost a lot to insure. It shouldn't cost a lot to maintain. It shouldn't cost a lot to clean, to maintain, to change the brakes. Nothing about it should be expensive, but it has been a money pit. And so I know for sure that there's been warfare directed at this vehicle. I guarantee it. There's no doubt about it for me. So, like I said, I'm living a life of gratitude, but I'm living a life of like trusting God and everything. So the car is here, and I'm gonna have to go out there and see if it's the battery. I have a feeling it's the battery. Now I'm not a mechanic, and I had a discussion with a gentleman that I actually developed a close relationship with. We had discussions about um, staying in your lane, basically. So I'm not a mechanic, but I'm also not a chef, but I can cook. I'm not a chef, I can cook. I'm not a truck driver, but I can drive a truck. So many things, like I refuse to limit myself to doing just what I went into school for or things that I was taught by my family or my surroundings to do. I'm always open to learning something new. And I guess the Lord maybe pushed me in that direction because I've always been in a position where I've had to figure out things on my own. I've had to figure out how to maintain things on my own because the funds were never there to do what I had to do. So I can change a tire. I can I detail my car myself. What else about the car? I change the headlights myself. Hi, good to see you. I'm looking tired because I just woke up from a nap. I just had a nap. Just now I woke up. I was so beat, and it might have been just I had to wait in the car for about, I would say, about an hour, and the waiting, it was getting a little bit cold. So this light, hold on a second. Let me see something. It's a little bit, I don't know, man. The lights. Anyway, so I was just saying that the car that I'm driving is my mother's car, and because of the attacks against me, there's also been attack against my finances, against the way I look, against my physical health. Every aspect of my life has been attacks. So before it gets too dark, because I know when it gets dark, it's gonna get really cold. I'm gonna try and figure out if it's the battery that it needs, because there's so much that this car does for everybody around here. Like we've done, drop the girls to work, pick them up, drop them off at appointments, pick them up, drop them off at events, pick them up. That's what it's been. And I guess in this situation, they're also learning how it is to actually own a car, because they have their license, but they don't own a car. They have a license, but they don't own a car. But they want a car. So I mean, ideally, this is a good opportunity for them to learn how it is to maintain a car, and that would include like thinking about insurance, about things that have to go wrong, things that are maintenance wise that have to happen every so often, like oil changes, brake pads, uh, even pump now, even putting air in the tires isn't free anymore. So all that kind of stuff. So I am gonna go out there now. I'm gonna what I'm doing now is I'm going to share with you the process it's been for me being by myself, raising my girls, and the things I've had to tackle. Because I've been in situations like this before. I thank you for the like. Thank you. I've been in the situation before because I've had men in my life. Obviously, I've had four daughters, but I've had no help. I don't want to say that they're the men that I know don't have use because they all have jobs. But in relations to everyday things like that would complement me, because I can do a lot by myself. There's not much I can't do on my own. Not much. Which is sad because that means it takes this extraordinary kind of person to complement me. Like, and it would be an insult to me to be with someone who I'd have to I always say stupefy. The word I invented is stupefy. I don't want to stupefy myself to be in the presence of a man who feels intimidated by me because I've learned a lot or because I can do a lot for myself because I've had to. This is not because I'm trying to show off or show out or disrespect men. This is me trying to survive. So I always meet these guys, and I have to do this since I was very young. So I always meet these guys who see me initially, and they assume something about me because of what I look like. And then I'm thrown into situations like this where I have to fix the car or get something done with the car. That doesn't necessarily need me a mechanic. I can put a battery in a car. I can change a tire. And when I start doing stuff like that, men get intimidated by it. And it's annoying. It's annoying because like I said, I'm not trying to be a guy. I'm not trying to overpower a guy. I'm not trying to compete with anybody, man or woman, but it needs to get done. So I'm going to take you on the journey of me trying to figure this out because right now I'm going to go out there. I'm going to see if the car will start. The car was working fine up until today. Today it dropped to like minus 33. And so I think because it was so cold, the cold drained the battery, and which means the battery isn't good, right? When I was out there waiting for the tow truck, another tow truck came. I thought it was the one from CA, but it was another tow truck. And the guy said, "You're on a very, I guess it's a provincial highway or something." And they were saying that you can't stay here. That you'd have to um, be towed. He'd have to tow me. He'd said, mind you, well, all he was I knew, and this is God, like the discernment I've grown to have. It's just like so. It's such an insult to any guy trying to come to me and lie. I just wanted to like just say, dude, you're lying. So he was saying to me that you have to. He backed up ready to tow me away. He was saying that it's a provincial road and that it's dangerous to be here and that he'd have to tow me and that CA would because I told him CA is coming to get me. They'll be here in a few minutes. He goes, "Oh, the CA will reimburse you." No such thing. What kind of process would that be? How would that look? Anyway, I said, they're gonna be here soon and they've already called MTO, so you don't have to worry about it. And he said, then he realized I knew what I was talking about and he went on his merry way. Hi, how are you? So, like I said, I'm gonna take you on this journey with me in relations to how I'm gonna get this done, so you can see the nature of how I think, the things the hoops I've had to jump through, and let's see where this goes because God may do a miracle. Because, like I said, my daughters they're doing a lot on their own. They're getting a lot done on their own, and they're young. So me driving them to work is just me kind of like what I would do if we were all in the typical situation like we were when we started before this whole thing went down. We were separated. I would have continued to mother them and take care of them and guide them and teach them until they were on their own, like a mother hen or a mother chick, mother bird. You make them, you feed them, you teach them how to fly. And when they fly, they go on their merry way. And that was my plan for my girls. My first daughter was like that. I did everything with her. I taught her to drive stick. I got her to get her license. Cooking, she kind of learned that more now, but she, cooking, that wasn't really a big interest to her. She loved food, but they're all very picky. So right now, they're all learning. As much as that we're not all together all the time, I still make it a point to, if I can be there for them, I am for them. And so I've been driving them to work, to get them there. And the battles that they have to experience at work are enough. To figure out how to get there at 4 o'clock in the morning is a lot. So I think that, and people say, they're big girls now. Yeah, they're big girls now, but they're not, your kids, or other, most kids haven't gone through what my girls have gone through. So I don't mind doing what I've been doing. Anyway, it's getting dark. I don't want it to get too dark because I don't want it to be too cold to check out, see what's happening with the car. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Today I went for my run, for those of you who are checking my the YouTube earlier, and I did 2.5K, but I started to feel like I could do 3. Like, it was feeling so good. Like, I was like, oh, all right, my blood must be flowing, blah, blah, blah. Not realizing that I was getting frostbite. If anyone ever experienced frostbite, when I got in the house, my fingertips were on fire. I vow that I don't know who I was trying to impress. I don't know what the heck that was. It was really cold when I first started. And then it started to get like, oh, I didn't feel my fingers were too cold anymore. And I thought, I can do this. I can keep going. Then I thought, you know what? The wind's blowing, and I think something in me told me to go inside. It's when I went inside, I'd say I cleared like maybe 2 minutes. I got upstairs. Before I even took off all my stuff, my hands started to burn. And that's what we call in Canada, that's what we call frostbite. So self-inflicted wounds. No one told me to go do that. I don't know who I'm trying to fool, what I'm trying to impress. So anyway, one of my fingers, this one here, this one right here, it's still like, if you push it, it's still tender. And so frostbite is kind of like, I guess it's I don't remember exactly how it goes with the body, but I guess it's the area where the fingertips are exposed to the cold, where the blood stops flowing there. That's a lot. I put myself through a lot today for really nothing. So anyway, the guy who came to tow me, I told him the story about the guy who was going to tow me. He was pretty like, girl, they're not gonna reimburse you. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna go out there. I will not be vlogging out there because it's way too cold to pull any kind of selfie stick. When I come back inside, though, I will do a live to let you know what's going on, if it started or whatever else, because I just believe it just needs a new battery. That's what I think. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic, but you can YouTube or Google anything you want. If anything you want to do, you can do. And I know lots of people are like, why don't you just call somebody? Why don't you just pay someone to... If the funds were there, I'd probably pay for everything, right? But the funds aren't there. So this is how my life has been. This is why I didn't take the children's fathers to court, because I learned how to do everything, mostly everything, on my own. I didn't ask them for anything. They were able to go out there and date and have relationships and floss like nobody's business. While they had children, they could have been supporting that, weren't supporting the way they could, because I did things like this on my own. And it's just God allowed me to get through it. And he guided me to do that, because I think the way the system's set up is, a lot of guys have these children, and both women, the men and the woman who have these children, are really weren't thinking. And they go through the courts, men end up getting very resentful, and they resent the child, they resent the mom. And so I chose a different route. I didn't want to bleed them. Well, it's not like we were married, so it's not like I didn't want them to have, I wanted them to have a life while I went on to have a life. And so this is where I'm at right now. Anyway, I'm gonna bundle up, put my hats and scarves on, and put my hat, scarf, all my stuff that I have to keep warm, and get out there, because like I said, maybe someone will come by. Like, I have a neighbor who, they all have these big vehicles. Maybe they know something, but I just have a feeling, like I said, I may have to take the bus to go get a battery, and then put it in. If I do that, it'll probably, tomorrow's supposed to be warmer, so maybe I'll do a video of that. But right now, man, I am so scared to get out there. Whoo, it's cold. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you. I'm gonna come on later and we'll do a talk about something significant, related to the channel. But this, again, I do want to take you on this journey, because I want you to know the process, the things I've had to go through. So far, I get a little bit of funds for my daughter to take them to work, and I had to use that money to put into CAA to get the car towed. So that money's gone, and so the money that I would have used for the battery is tow money. So, but I got CAA because I knew I'd have to tow it. If anything, if it's more than just a battery, I'd have to tow it from here to a mechanic. Now you see my process of thinking. Not a typical chick. Not a typical chick. I know this. I'm not saying there's a lot of girls who can do. I'm sure there's a lot of girls who had to do their own thing, but not to the degree I've had to. I promise you that. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna come on later. I am rested. I am still kind of like just getting myself together from sleeping, but I'm rested now. All right, guys. Love you. I will see you later.